What you're just telling me now is that he was willing to stop his billing because he offered your client a misdemeanor and you rejected it. You're the one who's continuing the billing.
Oh, I don't bill by the hour.
No, you're the one that's continuing to make him bill. He was willing to cut that off. You said, I believe that they created this case against my client
Right.
so they can continue to bill.
Hi everyone, it's me, Linda B, and welcome back. All right, so today we're going to go over this Georgia Senate committee hearing taking place. Well, it took place yesterday, Wednesday, March the 6th, where Ashley Merchant is providing her information on why she even said that there was a conflict of interest with Nathan Wade and Fani Willis in the first place, going over her information and note all the things that she noticed. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please go ahead and hit like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel on my way to 3,000 subscribers this month. So let's get to it. All right, so here we have this Georgia Senate committee hearing that took place yesterday. As I told you, it's Ashley Merchant giving her information on why she even brought forth a conflict of interest. Lots of things that she noticed. She noticed there was no oath of office that was filed. She noticed that there was, the overcompensation of payment. There were a lot of things that she noticed that were not done according to the law. So check this out.
She says over and over again that I'm just wrong, that she doesn't have to because she's a state constitutional officer. So that was their position, that she doesn't have to.
So is that one of the grounds for your motion to disqualify these, let's just call them financial irregularities, that she had not complied with the state law or county policy of getting prior approval?
Yes, that was one of the primary bases. But then I also reviewed case law and saw, the conflict of interest. And, our motion, the theory, basically just to sum up the motion, is that essentially he's getting paid all of this money and they're not going through the proper procedures. And I go through it in the motion. I talk about how he didn't file an oath, which is rare. I'm one of those.
Didn't file a what?
He didn't file an oath of office. Yeah. And I'm one of those people that I always, when I first start a case, I always make sure that everything is all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So I always pull that. Anytime I've only ever had special counsel twice, and it's been people who were not paid, who were district attorneys in other jurisdictions who took the case on, which is the normal process in the state. But I've always pulled that just to see that they're sworn. That's something that's important to me. And I couldn't find it, so I did open records to the probate court, to the superior court, and there was no oath of office filed.
Sworn for the special assistant district attorney?
Yes. If you're going to be inside of a grand juries are highly regulated. I can't just go in a grand jury. None of us can just go into a grand jury. So you have to be a sworn officer of the state to actually be in there, particularly to present evidence. And so I wanted to see if he had taken an oath. And that's something that, you would file. It should be publicly available, not something that's really, highly contentious or secret, and there wasn't one. So, once I learned that, I was like, why are they not filing an oath? This is odd. There's no public approval of these contracts. There's no oath of office filed. This is different, what's going on. We later found out that he had taken an oath, but nobody had filed it,
okay.
And the law requires, there's a statute that requires you actually file it.
I have looked at that. So the statute for a district attorney, their oath, when they are sworn in that position, says, I do swear that I will faithfully and impartially and without fear, favor, or affection discharge my duties as district attorney and will only take my lawful compensation.
Yes.
So help me God. Did Ms. Willis sign her oath that swore she would not take any unlawful compensation?
Yes, she did that, and then she also filed some disclosure forms that are required. There's financial disclosure forms that Fulton County requires that you file every year, and you have to disclose if you've received any gift over $100. So from anybody doing business with the county. And Fulton County is I used to be a Fulton County employee. They are very strict on those types of things. So anytime there's anything that could be construed as a gift over $100, and I've gone to lunch with prosecutors before who wouldn't let me pay for lunch because they're like, what if it's over $100, So people do take that pretty seriously.
So that would apply to Ms. Willis would not be allowed to receive gifts from whom?
From anybody who was, and I actually believe I attached it as an exhibit. It's basically anybody who is doing business or seeking to do business with Fulton County. So, and it's one of
That
those.
would include Mr. Wade, obviously, then?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
And that makes sense because that's one of those provisions that's supposed to, be guarding against honest services.
Like anti-kickback statute.
That's exactly what
Hire
it's based on.
somebody as a vendor and they give you gifts in exchange.
Yes. And so they require that you disclose that every year. It's signed.
Hire, a special prosecutor, it has to be approved. Nathan Wade was not approved in the first place, and also he was supposed to come from not within the same jurisdiction. So he came from within the same jurisdiction, and they should have gotten a special prosecutor outside of that jurisdiction. So a lot of things were going on wrong here that weren't done according to law, and also the gifts that you're not supposed to get gifts over a certain dollar amount, not over $100. So, and I've heard of this a lot with all industries. I worked for a company that, we couldn't accept compensation or a gift or special gift. It might have been lower than $100, but it couldn't be any more than that. And for obvious reasons, because if you're giving someone special gifts, it's like, okay, what is this person doing to get this gift, So that was something that Ashley Merchant brought up as well, saying that Fulton County is very strict about that. And a lot of companies and corporations and industries are strict about that because it does present a clear conflict of interest. Next, we have Senator Harold Jones. Now, Senator Harold Jones looks like he is trying to give Miss Ashley Merchant the blues. He is saying, well, wait a minute, there was not really a conflict of interest.
That it's physical precedent only.
And you're using that as the basis, really, to say it's a conflict. There's no other case law that you actually use in this particular brief to say it's a conflict other than Whitworth and also amusement sales, which deals with contingency fee.
Right.
And so in Whitworth, and I have the case if you want to go through it, it actually talks about that there's ways of citing the conflict.
Right.
Number one would be if he had or prosecutor had actually spoken to the defendant. Has that taken place?
No.
Okay. Second, has he represented the defendant?
No, he hasn't. There was a motion early on. I didn't even bring this up here, and I don't think we talked about it in the brief, but there was a motion early on because Mr. Campbell, who's Mr. Wade's law partner, actually sent a mailer out to my client and all of the other defendants. Yeah. So I don't think anybody called based on that, but they did advertise to them saying, call us to represent you. The actual conflict is lying on your disclosures about how much money
I'm talking
you
as far as this issue is concerned right here. When you use Whitworth, you use amusement sales, and they say that there has to be an actual conflict. And amusement sales, and let's go back to Whitworth if we can, because in Whitworth, the person was actually told, the prosecutor was actually told by another prosecutor that they want the case to actually resolve in a conviction. Because what had happened was the defense attorney came to the prosecutor and said, we would like to plead. Mm-hmm. And the prosecutor basically said no. He went and got advice from somebody, and that prosecutor said, we would like this case to resolve in a conviction.
Right.
And so the question, and that then was held not to be a conflict. They said that still is not an actual conflict, even though someone told that prosecutor, we want to see a conviction. We actually want to see it go to the end. Don't plea him out. And the court said, no, that's not an actual conflict, because what you have to show is there's an actual unfairness to the defendant in the trial.
Right.
Can you point to any unfairness in the trial that's taking place?
It's not in the trial, so it's not limited just to the trial. But to answer the first part of your question, when you were asking about the conviction of personal mistake, Ms. Willis has made numerous public statements about her interest in a conviction. There's some emails that had been admitted as part of it, as part of some of the exhibits in the case. There's a lot of pleadings, so I don't know which one exactly, but talking about her desire for there to be a conviction and jail time. Being convicted of something, because when the plea offer was for him to pay a $5,000 fine and have a misdemeanor.
So in reality, because you said that he wanted to extend the case out, he was actually trying to end your client's case.
With a $5,000.
But it was going to end.
It
He was
would.
be no more. It would be no more billing on that case because earlier you
Just
said,
mine.
but earlier you said that you believe, which was total speculation, that they created this case against your client to do more billing. And what you're just telling me now is that he was willing to stop his billing because he offered your client a misdemeanor and you rejected it. You're the one who's continuing the billing.
So they're arguing over what is a conflict of interest and stating that at the time the court said there's no conflict of interest. Ashley Merchant's client was, Michael Roman was the one, that's her client, stating that Michael Roman was given a deal to take $5,000 in a misdemeanor, but Ashley wouldn't take it. And so now he's saying, you're stretching this out. So, and oh, guys, wait. There was even a meeting on February 24th, 2023 with Fani Willis and VP Kamala Harris. Nobody knows what the meeting was about, but the timing, we're wondering, and I heard, don't know how true this is allegedly, but there is record of the meeting, of course, with Fani Willis and Kamala Harris. That's on record. Because of when you sign in and out, when you go visit the White House, they keep very close track of that. It's public record. It's not hard to find. But also the timing of it, they're just trying to, no one knows what the meeting was about. We know that. Okay. But I've come across in my research that Fani Willis had a meeting with the J6 committee also. So we, a lot of this stuff is going to keep coming out and coming out and coming out and coming out. Then her book, Find Me the Votes. Fani Willis wrote a book called Find Me the Votes. And that's in reference to that phone call where Donald Trump and his legal team were on the call. I remember that phone call. I listened to it on YouTube. And it's an hour-long phone call. It's not a short phone call. It's a whole hour. I know that Trump is on the call with his lawyer team, and I know that Brad Raffensperger is on the call and some other people. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, 12 total people were on the call, and Donald Trump was saying, how could I not get any votes from the military? How can every single vote be for Joe Biden? I'm good with the military. How can this be? I know he didn't believe the results of the election. He even said it was rigged before it happened. And that's what this whole Fani Willis thing is about. That's why she's going after Trump, which is why I'm bringing this up. Because he's saying that that can't be right. He was saying, go back and check again, but we've already checked, is what Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger said. He's the Secretary of State in the state of Georgia, my state. And he said, we've already checked, Mr. President, we've already checked. This is correct. We've already double checked. This is correct. And Donald Trump just couldn't believe that every single vote from the military or those other votes that came in that were mailed in, he just couldn't believe that every single one was for Joe Biden. And we're not going to talk about what kind of job Joe Biden is doing as president of the United States right now. I think we all know. So that's really the gist of the phone call. And he did say, go find me 11,780 votes or things like that. But I don't think he meant just go make up the votes. I think he said go look from the votes that you could have overlooked from ones that were sent in. That's how I took it, because I listened to the entire phone call, not just a little snippet on CNN. I listened to the whole thing, and basically he questioned the results. I don't know why it's not okay for him to question the results when Hillary Clinton did it, Al Gore did it, but when a Republican does it, there seems to be a problem. And also, and I know I've mentioned this in my other videos, if you guys look into what actually happened about 4 years ago when we had to go do our civil duties and go for who we wanted to represent us, there's a lot that I think some people don't know. And Trump was quite accurate when he said what he said about what was going on. And the truth is going to come out. 2024 is one of those years where the truth is just going to come out. It's going to blow your mind. So if that's the case, then we shouldn't even be having this case. If that's the case. Didn't say it was the case. But I do have some very credible evidence that eventually I will share with you guys so you can know where I'm coming from and why I believe what I believe concerning that, because things were not on the up and up about 4 years ago. They were not. Okay, these are things that I come across, and this is aside from the case. I'm not talking about the case right now with the election interference. I'm talking about what got us here. You know, what supposedly happened, you know, that Donald Trump was trying to do was really not the case. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm going to do a video and you guys will be like, oh, that's what she was talking about. Anyway, that's all I have for today. You guys, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. You guys be blessed and march on, warriors.